I'm gonna float like a butterfly and sting like a bee.
I'm gonna show you how good I am.
Redacted.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to watch.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, Redactors. Welcome. Is that not enough energy for you?
No, it's good. It was just like
Oh man, I can do it these days.
yeah, just snap. You're on.
Bang. Hello, Redactors.
Yeah.
Welcome to the episode, I don't know what number we're up to. Episode
7.
about Pyrex.
Episode 7. Yeah, the Pyrex episode.
Yeah, episode Pyrex.
Yeah.
You know, we do so many that you lose count of the number, you know?
Yeah. It's
7.
episode 7. Plus there was a bonus episode if anyone's playing along at home.
For the trivia that's coming out next month.
How are you, Goose?
I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
good. How are you?
Good. This is post the interview we had.
You're going to talk about how tired I was.
Yeah, but you're in scrubs again. You're in the same outfit. Yes.
I am. I'm in the teal.
I think it's worth saying because last time you were locked in a car at sunrise. That was the previous episode.
The lengths I go to talk to you
I know. Talk to me. It's the only way you can
and
get.
talk to this core team.
I only talk to you in via podcast these days.
Yeah, but I was fresh off a night shift, so
Yeah.
that's why you did a bit of the heavy lifting with the talking.
That's all right. Yeah.
And then when the soothing voices of KP, Funky, and Never Defined
Yeah. Or
were
never.
chatting, our guests,
Yep.
then I was kind of in full relax mode, meditation mode.
You're good. You did look tired though.
I was very tired.
But I think you came off well in the pod. You sounded fresh.
Oh, thanks, man.
No worries. Yeah. You didn't look fresh from what I could see, but you sounded
I was
fresh.
wrecked.
Yeah. I could see it. Your hands in your face. You're like, oh.
Once you realize you don't have to sleep anymore, your mind goes wide open.
You do
And
have
the real
to sleep.
Right, so the Pyrex episode we got here.
So tell me briefly, what's your elevator pitch of how Pyrex works?
Yeah, okay. Well, I should explain this. So another primer, because this is a long one, this episode. We spoke for an hour and 20 minutes, so that was a lot of editing. We kind of cover a lot of different things. So I want to give a little breakdown of the simple things that Pyrex can do, just so you guys, if you aren't aware of what Pyrex is yet, you'll have just like a pretty good idea of what Pyrex is when you come into the interview, just so you can understand it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So there are quite a few different acronyms. They all revolve around CVX. So CVX is kind of wrapped in many different ways within Pyrex. So to try not to get too confused, I'll probably put all the acronyms in the show notes.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna
a good idea.
Yeah, I'm going to break through them one step at a time.
Yeah.
So you start with, I'm also going to assume that you probably know what convex is. Like,
We've covered that previously.
yeah, we have in the Curve Wars episode.
Yeah.
So feel free to go back and listen
Go
to
back.
that. Yeah. Oh, what, you mean like a... Yes, so assume knowledge of convex, CVX. So let's go through each iteration of Pyrex step by step. So let's start with PXCVX, which is Pyrex convex. So that is essentially, as you often hear, a liquid wrapper for VLCVX. So with VLCVX, you lock it up for roughly 16 weeks.
Yep.
And at that point, it means you can't exit your position. You'll also receive
You're
bribes.
forced to wait.
You're forced to wait, but at the meantime, you're receiving bribes. With PXCVX, you can enter the same position when you lock up your CVX into Pyrex, and instead of VLCVX, you'll receive PXCVX.
Yep.
Yeah. Hopefully, this isn't getting too
That's okay.
cool. Okay. And you'll receive the same benefits. You can receive those bribes, but you can also exit your position and cash your PXCVX back out for CVX at any time. And
Amazing.
Yeah.
So when you see that shiny new NFT come out, you can just sell the lot of the Pyrex Convex and chase after that NFT dream.
That's exactly exactly the reason people want to cash out. That's all I can think of. Cool. I think that basically covers PXCVX in the most rudimentary way.
And then we've got UCVX as well.
Yes.
Tell me about UCVX.
Okay. I'm happy to pass the ball to you.
No.
No. All right. I'll take the ball. I'll keep dribbling. All right. So UCVX stands for Union Convex. So essentially, it's a really good system where you can just set and forget. So you can purchase your UCVX, and it's essentially a pounder. There was a collaboration with the Union guys. You have your UCVX. It sits there, and while it sits there, you accumulate essentially more CVX. So it's auto compounding.
Your CVX is taken and the bribes are taken, and those bribes are converted into convex, then it's given back to you. So instead of receiving bribes, you're auto compounding your CVX.
Yeah, because from the bribes you receive, they're creating more convex, which then means from the convex you're receiving more bribes, which will then give you more convex. So it's a snowballing effect.
Yes, it goes up exponentially.
Cool. Do you think that covers UCVX for the most part in
I think so.
very entry-level kind of explanation?
Yeah, that's all they need.
Yeah. Let's move on to some of the other stuff. So if we go back,
Are we assuming knowledge of ski mountains as well?
I think let's skip the ski runs.
Oh, good. Okay.
Ski runs get confusing.
How funny was it when did you... Okay, don't worry.
I do. It's still in there. I kept it. No ski runs on
Do
this.
you like that analogy?
Yeah.
No.
I still stand by my mid-station
I
analogy.
think it's perfect.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So yeah, back to mid-station now. Okay. I'll go back to PXCVX.
Yep.
So there's another step. This is kind of what they call hard mode. There's another step you can take from there. So with your PXCVX, you can choose to stake it with Pyrex, which means you have SPXCVX, staked Pyrex convex. I hope you're keeping it up. Yeah, cool. So what you can do with that is you can choose for how long you wish to lock it up for. For example, let's say you lock it up for 6 months. In doing so, you will then receive future notes, which will represent the future bribes you will receive for how long you have it locked up for.
Yes.
Yeah, cool. So 6 months, lock up, you'll get 6 months worth of bribe notes. So they come in 2 different iterations. You can get the BFN, the bribe future note, which is essentially a delegated version of those bribes, which will mean it will be the best possible yield you can get for each voting round. Or the other option is your VFN, your vote future note, which means it won't be delegated. You won't get the most optimum yield. You can choose where you wish to delegate your vote. So with those future notes, obviously the idea of that is that you can then sell your future votes if you so wish to. So there'll be a marketplace for that.
Yep.
Yes. Would you add anything to that?
No, I think that's good. I think that's a good primer. And now we're going to hear people talking in a fair bit more depth. And yeah, hopefully we don't get too lost.
Yeah. No, we're good.
They're good.
Yeah. No, there's a good chat there. There's a lot of pontification. There's a lot of eyes on the horizon, looking at the larger scope of what Pyrex will be.
Yep.
A lot of inspirational stuff from Funky, as you'll hear.
It sounds like a keynote talk, to be honest.
All right, we should probably get into it, hey?
Sounds good. Roll the tape.
Let's you and me have a little talk, friend. What? Yeah! Where'd you get that? Blackout was holding my hands over Kaylee's ears. I think I was more focused on her hands on mine.
Take care, Butterfree! Good luck, buddy!
In just a little more than a week's time, a lowly, crawling caterpillar has changed into this colorful creation.
All right, guys, welcome. How are you, Goose?
It's good to be back, man.
Yeah, good to be back.
Star-studded lineup yet again.
Yes. We have a few familiar faces. We've got Funky back. How are you, Funky?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Funky's essentially the third co-host of Redacted Radio.
Definitely.
Yeah.
He captained to the ship.
Yeah. And Never is back. How are you, Never?
Doing well, just pushing out here, trying to, just as always, but yeah, doing well. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, good, thanks, man.
Good, thanks, mate.
And a fresh face on the show. From what I've been told, the creator,
Masterman.
yeah, the mastermind,
sorry,
of Pyrex. Yeah, we got KP. How are you, man?
Yeah, I don't know about mastermind, but yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. Good to be here.
No, you wouldn't say mastermind. How would you describe your involvement with Pyrex then, KP?
Or Redacted overall as well.
I guess I did. Yeah, I built it. But it wouldn't be.
I'm not the mastermind. I just built it.
I mean, I do truly mean it. But I think I don't know, we don't really like labels, I guess. But at the same time, it's who cares if I built it, right? It's it does matter if I didn't have everybody else, was working with everybody else, like Funky and Never, to get it to where it is today. So that's how we view it anyway. Each of us played a pretty big part in getting Pyrex to where it is today. So if anything, I think collectively we're masterminds, and we're really excited and proud of what we built.
What a modest man.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I love it.
Well, yeah. I guess you're trying to say it was your brainchild. You had the initial spark, but it's definitely been the collaboration of everyone coming together that's made it what it is today. Cool. So, I guess we would have announced this at the top of the show. It's the Pyrex episode. So for anyone who's Py curious, they can
Who's Py curious?
Yeah.
We're rolling with that, are we?
I'll see. I can edit out whatever joke I make.
Wow.
You think it's so fucking funny, huh? Funny.
What we want to try and do today is, because Pyrex is really cool and there's a lot of different things you can do with it, but we want to try and break it down step by step. For those who maybe aren't too familiar just yet with how it works and what the mechanics are behind it, we can kind of go through each step, because there's a lot of acronyms, there's a lot of different types of CVX and different ways you can wrap it and utilize the system. So I thought we'd just go through it one step at a time. And I know that with KP, you said there's like an easy, intermediate and a hard mode. But I think before we break down those steps, maybe we just go straight up with PX CVX. So that's kind of, if you have your CVX and you go to Pyrex, you can wrap it for PXC point, essentially, of Pyrex.
I was going to say, like, is it worth just going through what convex and locking entails just to provide that context?
Yeah, I think so. Because I think it really sets the stage for understanding the value that Pyrex provides. So with convex, I mean, they've created this amazing, protocol that allows you to lock CVX, which is their token, and that gives you the ability to influence votes on another protocol. They're basically like a proxy for Curve. The problem is when you lock with convex, you basically are unable to exit your position for 4 months. You can't OTC it. You basically just can't exit your position. My point is, so you have to lock your tokens for 4 months. You get bribes over those 4 months and other miscellaneous rewards during tumultuous periods like this in the market. You don't really want to, it's tough to stomach putting your money in a protocol and not knowing what's going to happen 4 months from that period, right? So what's interesting is like Pyrex is actually, like, the reason why Pyrex exists was because a similar period like this happened, or it was like in February or something where convex or CVX dumped to like $15. I was like, man, why it kind of sucks. I have to stomach all of this. Like, why isn't there an alternative, So that's kind of what spurred on, Pyrex. Like we want to create a solution that would allow people to, better manage their position. And because like the smaller guys, like us, like it sucks when you see your net worth take like 75% or 80%, right? It's like, I don't think anyone can stomach that, really, even larger players, but that's why Pyrex exists.
I was just going to add that the liquidity thing is a big thing, but with convex, right? So you lock your convex for 16 weeks or 16 to 17 weeks, depending on when the convex epoch starts. And what that allows you to do is you can vote on convex governance votes, which are passed through to curve gauge votes. And that allows you to direct kind of curve emissions to various curve gauges, or basically pools, meaning that you can direct liquidity. So I think the other thing is there's this marketplace on Vodium where people who are interested in directing those emissions in certain places can buy vote lock convex votes. And the way that it works now is that if you're an average user, you will end up with 10 or 15 different tokens. So I think the other thing as well is that in addition to this great kind of ability to have a liquid version of vote lock CVX, is that with Pyrex, you can automatically sell those bribes and receive the yield in the same token that you're already with now. So I think, for me at least, that's the two kind of main quirks that makes investing in CVX as a shrimp user really difficult, is that who can lock for 16 weeks? 16 weeks in crypto is 4 years in normal time.
5 minutes? What? We were talking for at least an hour.
If I have even a medium-sized bag of CVX and I'm getting bribe awards through Vodium, how am I supposed to claim them, sell them, get it back into one token, and then lock again? It's it just makes it so hard to access such a great kind of ecosystem.
Yeah, and what I would like to add on that point is why it makes so much sense to be building on on convex is that Curve and Convex has created this thing in DeFi where you just kind of have this this yield engine where it's real yield and it's real value being created, not some sort of this word Ponzu being sprayed around in DeFi currently. So like you see in TradFi, when you have this real engine that is really building yield, then you would have other products and derivatives that's built on top of it, right? That's what Curve created, and there was Convex, and now we think that the next layer should be Pyrex.
Those are great explanations. Really glad to have you guys here.
People always ask me what is Pyrex? And Pyrex is not just convex. It's literally Imagine your favorite governance token. Obviously, like none of them are perfect. It's a very nascent industry. The whole kind of tokenomics is still being developed, etc. And like you have people like Curve who came up with this very innovative vote escrow model. But for the average user, there are a lot of limitations to these governance tokens. And imagine you could remove those limitations and make them like your favorite governance token. Like auto compounding yield in the same token, fully liquid. Everything you want. Imagine that could happen. That's what Pyrex can do. Any token, not even a governance token, any token you want, it can make it the token that you want it to be.
Yeah, it's such a flexible system that it uses like the real yield created by with markets. You have like thing that creates the real yield, and then all of a sudden you can have just so much possibilities to basically use that liquidity, create any kind of financial tool or financial product that you think of. And I think KB did such an amazing job with building a system that's just so flexible, and so that you can basically use these building blocks and the real yield and the value that Curve and Convex creates to create these novel and new markets and financial products.
Yeah, like those principles extend to all of our product. I also want to shout out Hidden Hand. Like I think a lot of people underestimate Hidden Hand, and it's just because we've only just gotten started with it. There are a lot of really cool, interesting use cases that we'll be releasing for it too. Just really excited about what we're building because we're here to build architecture, add to the foundation of what's already been built by the greats, and just trying to figure out ways to enable people, ourselves, our users, developers who build on top to sustain themselves in a very tangible way. But I'll get into that a little bit later. But the guys worded it really well. I'm not sure if you guys realize this, but Pyrex is the brand of a glass container company, I guess. At first, I wasn't a huge fan of the name, but it's actually very appropriate. Yeah, I think a lot of people, our first use case, a lot of people are like, okay, Pyrex is just a liquid wrapper. But like Funky mentioned, we are a container company, and it's very vague. Container, what is a container? It's just a box. But yeah, that is exactly what we are. The possibilities of what we can do are really endless. So we have a pretty stacked pipeline with interesting use cases that extend beyond governance tokens and stuff.
The cool thing about Pyrex, right, is as KP was saying, it's a box. You can take whatever you want. You can make it have attributes that it doesn't have. But then it's with this box, you can do other things. You can build on top of it. You can put it into other things. It adds so much composability to assets that could be more composable. So it really makes these governed assets fully fluid in terms of how they can be used, which is I don't know, it's super bullish about Pyrex.
Yeah, adding on to Funky's saying, it's just kind of this super cool thing. If you guys know about MIM, it's just using these, once you have a product that creates yield, 3 Curve or whatever LP on Curve, and then using that yield and then new financial products degen boxes and stuff like that. It just opens so many possibilities, and yeah, so we're just super excited about that.
It's actually, what's cool is I can tell you two are really passionate about what you've made, so it's really cool to hear you guys talk about it.
I really like Funky's tagline. It sounds like the end of an ad, just like Pyrex. Make your governance token the token that you want it to be.
I reckon I could put some string sections behind you guys talking there and make it sound really inspirational.
Sounds like one of those big tech companies launching a new product.
I'll give it a bit of spit shine.
BitConnect. Not that one though.
Yeah, no, probably not as good as BitConnect. Yeah, that was exactly what I was thinking.
What's up? So you mentioned that Pyrex, you weren't initially a fan of the name, but it does seem to be fitting. Who did come up with the name of Pyrex?
Marcel, which is another Redacted founder. Yeah.
Name and shame.
Oh, Marcel did. Because I have to admit, every time I open the cupboard now and I see my Pyrex jug, I now just...
You've got one.
Yeah, doesn't everyone?
The first holder.
Yeah.
OG.
I was like, oh yeah. No, I do like the name. The name grew on me as well. And actually, shout out to the logo. I think Echo made the logo. That logo is so good. Cool. Yeah, it has to be on merch. But anyway, let's go back to what we're here to talk about. Not the logo, but
Oh man.
Yeah, so it's really cool what you guys are explaining. But I guess I'd like to kind of break it down super simply. I guess to really summarize super quick. So you have your Convex, your CVX, you can lock it up via CVX, but that means you're locked away for 4 months. But if instead you bring your CVX over to Pyrex and then deposit it into Pyrex, you won't get VLCVX. Instead, in return, you'll get PXCVX. The difference there is it's a much more liquid version of VLCVX. You're not locked in for 4 months. You can then exchange it out anytime, but you can also still receive your bribes at the same time. Is that correct? How does PXCVX work under the hood?
Yeah, what does Pyrex do with the CVX it receives?
Yeah, I mean, our base offering is vote lock convex, but with liquidity. So that's like the bare minimum that we offer users. And when we say, yeah, we'll give you everything that vote lock convex gives you, like on a yearly basis, we'll provide the same yield as VLCVX's APR. So I mean, that's a distinction that's worth noting. But yeah, so we're basically going to give you everything that VLCVX has. So if you want to vote, you can vote. If you want to just collect rewards, then you can. Or if you want to exit your position, that's an additional feature that PXCVX has. And on top of that, every single PXCVX is backed by one CVX. So we would never run into a situation where, there's a death spiral where, people are trying to redeem the underlying assets, but there just isn't anything. Like everything is backed one-to-one.
Being a true liquid wrapper is something that's rare in this space, where you have certain protocols that are building liquid wrappers, but like a portion of the voting power or whatever goes back into the protocol that built it, and creating a super unopinionated kind of system where the user kind of has all the sovereignty over the governance or the yield over the asset is something that Pyrex takes super seriously and wants to keep that kind of ethos going.
That's what's so cool about Pyrex is like, it's not here to bootstrap any redacted product. It's not here to, feed into some other system. It's literally here to do one thing. It's here to be a liquid wrapper. And PXCVX at its base, which is like the first level Lego, is like, that's what it is. It's as if you had vote lock CVX, but you could trade it. And you can still go and claim your bribe awards every 2 weeks. You can still, basically you can do with vote lock convex, but you can trade it and you can claim the bribe awards. And I think that's so cool. Is like, you can trade it, but then, wait, there's more. You can do more with it if you want to do something else. So like it has the optionality to allow you to do many different things. So it's not shoehorned into doing only one thing.
Yeah, and like what KP was saying, that how the system will not enter a death spiral. The system or the protocol does not depend on a person in a multisig to kind of reload the bags of unlocking CVX to keep the peg or whatever. It's just kind of like it lets it naturally will restore itself in the sense that it's always backed by a CVX, and this is still in the hands of the user, right?
Absolutely. I think that was a good segue then from what Funky was saying as well, that there's many things you can do. So maybe we break down, as I've heard KP describe, like a video game, the 3 modes: easy mode, intermediate mode, medium mode.
So you're telling me the easy mode isn't just locking it into sending it to the liquid token. There's a mode above that.
There's an easier mode, basically.
There's a set and forget mode.
Tutorial mode is just sending it to Pyrex.
Tutorial mode. Just send all your money to me, and I'll take care of it.
Yeah, we'll put your wallet address in the show notes.
The P in KP actually stands for Pyrex. He's actually the whole protocol.
King Pyrex.
I thought it was King
sentient
Pyrex.
AI.
That's so vain that I named it after myself.
Exactly, steady lads. KP has you.
No, dude. No, honestly, I really do think that if, let's just say all this stuff magically happened, I think Pyrex may be a failure without these guys. I mean, just a perfect example is on this podcast, right? These guys have been so supportive. You probably wouldn't know what the fuck Pyrex is if these two guys didn't fill in on my really, the skier, however I'm describing it. But we all just work together, and Pyrex is like us. I think we could say it's a container and things like that. And those are perfectly fine, metaphors. But I do think all the products we build are representations of us as a team. We're very flexible. I think there have been a number of times where we claimed that we could build most anything, and we usually back it up. But really excited and really bullish on Redacted team. But shout out to Greenberg, by the way, is Justin. He was actually the one who created the Pyrex
was
logo.
it Greenberg's?
Echo is definitely a Chad. But yeah, Justin is another.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Echo's good too.
He's
Echo's great. Yeah, the logo's
good friend of the show.
Yeah, no, Echo's awesome too.
And so is Justin or Greenberg. He's a friend of the show. He was on last
he's
episode.
Awesome.
Yeah. I didn't realize he voted. Sorry for miscrediting there.
No, they're both good guys.
Shout out to Greenbergs.
Shout out to Greenbergs for putting that Easter egg in the Pyrex website as well.
The Doom.
That's the alpha.
Oh, talking about Doom, or is that what Magnus is all about?
Yeah, I forgot about the other one.
No. Yeah, dude, That's a throwback, hey, dude.
Yeah, they're both awesome. There were some people who were like, I think one Twitter reply guy was like, I want my money back or whatever. But I mean, it took Justin for Greenberg only a couple hours to do, and we do have there's some interesting plans for that. Like, I think we just want to create novel product. I don't know. We're kind of surprised that some protocols aren't doing some of these things, but yeah, there'll be fun ways to interact with Pyrex that will allow you to participate further in the protocol. But yeah, we're still figuring all that out.
Yeah, so
rumors that Greenberg's is putting other games in there as well.
Oh, really?
Other games. I heard like RuneScape, StarCraft,
All the bangers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Animal Crossing. Yeah.
Hey man, you never know.
Oh man.
I guess it's bad.
Alright, let's get into the easy mode.
Yeah, well, actually, I liked the ski analogy because it was like, because I was thinking of like
Blue
video
Run.
games. Yeah, like you're green. Oh, different countries have
Yeah,
different colors.
different countries.
But what I like is, how you're like,
And a black run in Australia is not a black run in Japan.
yeah, we're not a ski run.
Let's get into the politics.
We're not a
of
ski
skiing.
run podcast. Yeah. Okay. No, but you're saying like it's like a ski run. So for me, I was trying to think of it like an anchoring point. PX CVX is like mid station, and then all the runs, hey, are like the different options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's clever.
What do you think of that? What do you think of that, KP? You can say no. It's fine, man. If you're like, nah, you know nothing on my work. This is ridiculous.
Sorry, I have like no, but you'll definitely have to share with us. I mean, you guys are
That's great.
Anyway, well, moving on then.
Highlight of the show.
Easy mode. Let's break down let's go down the green run. Let's No, but let's actually move on to easy mode, to the green runs. So for you, Goose, so you know, easy mode is, I believe the easiest way to put it is use CVX, which is you got that?
Yep.
Which is where you guys have been collaborating with the Union lads. Does anyone want to kind of break down essentially what UCVX is and how it runs? And I'm actually really excited about it. So yeah, it'd be cool if you guys were happy to jump into it.
Yeah, the Union guys are amazing. I mean, I really don't think the convex ecosystem would be maybe as vibrant without those guys, because they provide all the essentials, right? Like analytics on how much you're actually earning from bribes and things like that. Yeah, it's been amazing working with those guys. So working together with them, we formulated a solution where, initially we were thinking that users would deposit their CVX and then they would just manage it themselves, bribes and all that stuff. We figured that what if instead of users having to manage it themselves, which, most people are probably more interested in just, us printing money for them. So that's why we partnered with the Union guys, because that's kind of their business. So what happens is a user deposits CVX. They have the option to auto compound. And so what happens is the Union will claim all the rewards associated with the CVX, and then they will then turn that into more CVX, which previously wasn't like an offering for the Union, because there were issues. There weren't really any liquid CVX options that they really trusted. But they've seen everything that we've had to offer. I mean, they've been witness to the code base as of 1.5 to 2 months ago, and that's why I think the fact that they're partners with us today, even with Alunara being probably one of the most vocal crypto Twitter participants. I mean, if something is not good, he will say so, and we all respect him a lot for that. So the fact that they're willing to be such close partners with us, I think that's a great vote of confidence. But yeah, I think users will benefit hugely from this partnership. But yeah, maybe Funky or Never want to provide color.
Yeah, I mean, just these guys definitely understand the whole curve and convex ecosystem the most, and yeah, when you have a kind of a community or ecosystem like this, it's very important to have be opinionated and kind of push the community's values across. And Alunara and Benny have definitely, and the Union guys have definitely been a loud voice in the convex and curve ecosystem, and having their opinions and kind of contributions to the project is it's very valuable to us, because they will cut through all the bullshit and make sure that the user or the convex holder will always keep sovereignty over their token and be treated like in a fair way in this protocol.
Yeah, echo exactly what Never and KP have said. The Llama guys are Chads.
Yeah, we're still trying to bring them on board, because I think Benny has written some of the cleanest code that I've seen. Just these protocols, I think if you have good Solidity devs, hold on to them. Otherwise, we're going to try to steal them for ourselves.
hide your
hide
your Solidity devs, KPs, and
good devs are.
Damn, it doesn't.
Hide your what? Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I think that's another thing we're really excited about too. But we'd like to touch on is how we're going to be catering to devs, and because being devs ourselves, we're kind of surprised that a lot of protocols didn't really offer very clear direction for, I guess, new developers coming to the space, right? Like, if you want to make a living as a developer in this space, you'll probably have to join a company. But for entrepreneurs who, there are a lot of us, like the only way that you would actually be able to realize any liquidity is usually through like a token sale of some sort, right? There aren't many protocols that offer like tangible ways of being able to sustain yourselves as a dev, and we're going to be offering that. Not only just tools to help you build more applications on top of our protocol, but we'll be able to allow developers to sustain themselves in a very realistic way by building with us.
Yeah, adding on to that, just pushing forward more of the ethos of what Convex has provided to the DeFi space, right? So, like for protocols, the Curve whitelist kind of stopped a lot of protocols from innovating and tapping into the Curve ecosystem, and then when Convex came across protocols like Redacted, Pirex, and many others can now finally tap into this ecosystem and kind of build on top of it, and we want to push that forward.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Supporting the builders, we're going to build this Pyrex ecosystem.
Like they would be able to get rewarded and, of course, build the ecosystem for everybody within the Redacted community, Redacted stakeholders.
Yeah, I mean, it's very rare to see this kind of incentives in DeFi, right? You see these L1s having these huge incentive programs, but this will be one of the first in DeFi where it's built into the protocol.
So, kind of into the Pounder business and kind of almost rewrapping into a semi-fungible token. Should we touch on the difference between sending it to Pyrex and sending it to kind of the vote-locked CVX that users have been doing previously? Like, aside from the 16-week lockup, there are also other differences we can touch on.
It's a good segue to talk about UCVX, right? So we talked about PXCVX, which is you taking CVX, giving it to Pyrex. Pyrex locks it for 16 weeks, gives you PXCVX, which you can then claim rewards every 2 weeks. You can trade it, you can sell it, whatever you want. There are some people who don't want to claim the rewards because the rewards are going to be in 10 different tokens, whatever, or they don't want to have to do that every 2 weeks. They don't have to sell, they just want to have everything taken care of for them. So this is where the partnership with Union comes in. Union have created this vault, the PXCVX vault, which takes in PXCVX and gives a kind of UCVX kind of token in return. And with that UCVX, you're entitled to your PXCVX in the vault, which is automatically has its rewards claimed every 2 weeks and has those rewards converted into more PXCVX. So basically, if you're somebody who wants to set and forget from their CVX and have it auto-compounding into more CVX, there's this offering called Easy Mode. You can take your CVX, go to Pyrex, and choose to auto-compound it automatically, and Pyrex will take that CVX, convert it into PXCVX, deposit into the vault automatically so that you get UCVX automatically. So that's the easiest offering for Pyrex is for people who want to have a one-click service where their CVX can go from being vote-locked, illiquid, and receiving rewards as a whole bunch of different tokens to having a liquid version of that CVX which automatically claims and receives rewards into more CVX.
Yeah, and just quickly adding on to what Funky just said. So, we're going to be offering basically everything that locking with Convex gives you. But yeah, just imagine if by locking your Convex or your CVX, you earned more CVX, and then the CVX that you lock earns more rewards. So it's sort of this wrapping sort of mechanism, because you're not just getting more CVX, you're getting more CVX that earns you more CVX, and that compounds, right? I mean, I guess that's the whole compounding idea, is that not only are you getting more tokens, but you're getting more tokens that produce you more tokens. I mean, you get where I'm going with this, right? It's just
yeah, it's like a snowball down your ski run, essentially, you could say.
Loving it.
Yeah, exactly. it's not just regular tokens, it's tokens that have yield.
Yeah, I mean, it's like using the whole, economic concept of economies of scale, where, if you have one action that does it for multiple, like a huge number of people, kind of like a monopoly or whatever, economies of scale, like, the whole kind of greater ecosystem benefits benefits more.
Yeah, like just to hone in on what Never was saying is that, like, cool, you go from having, CVX, which is going to become illiquid and gives you rewards in a whole bunch of whatever tokens, to a CVX that you can trade anytime, the price crashes, you can sell it. But at the same time, the rewards are automatically claimed and convert into more CVX. But on top of that, because of this economies of scale that Never was talking about, because the kind of the fees for selling the tokens, etc., is shared between, a large number of people who are also doing the same thing, it allows, a small user, like myself, to get better yield than I would have with vote-lock CVX. Because if I had normal vote-lock CVX, I wouldn't be able to claim, sell, buy more CVX, relock every week. Whereas with this, it all happens automatically. So as a small user, over a year, I'll be getting more yield through this because of the compounding, the economies of scale, the kind of, there's so much value added here that, is enabled, for these smaller users.
It's one of those things where, okay, so as far as easy mode is concerned, right? It's one of those things where it's like not 100% clear why it's better than VLCVX when it comes to like voice, but on text, it's like very clear, right? It's like, well, with VLCVX, you get bribes over 4 months and staking rewards over 4 months. But you can't sell your tokens if you feel that the market is going to, go through a bad period where, your assets take like 50% haircut, like we've seen over the past, few weeks. But with Pyrex, you would receive the same general, the bribes over 4 months, or however long. And at the same time, you'd also be able to, if you need to, sell your CVX. But yeah, so I guess my point is that it's the same as VLCVX, but we offer a lot more utility with just our base offering. And we're not even getting into the ability to, borrow against the collateral value of your vote lock CVX, which is currently not possible. So yeah, the rabbit hole gets a whole lot deeper for just easy mode alone. But yeah, we're speaking of like the 3 different modes, right? Like I think one of the initiatives that we're really trying to pursue is having these abstractions that more people understand. Like everyone has probably played a game where there are various difficulty modes, at least most people in crypto. We're trying to create something similar where it's like, okay, well, if you want to just cruise and just have, completely hands-off like yield, generation and the ability to exit your CVX position if you need to, then just go with easy mode. But if you want to have finer grained control over your assets and be able to tap into like other cool features that we have, then they're standard and hard modes. Like the reason why we're also releasing the product in various modes is because Pyrex does get a little bit more complex. Like we don't really, I don't know. I think going forward, we're going to stop talking about under the hood stuff, right? Because then when it comes to under the hood stuff, it's just like a whole mess. Like we have like a lot of tokens, but users don't really need to care about that stuff. Like they don't need to know that we have a lot of like 5 different tokens or the terms like semi-fungible or any of that. Yeah, I'm curious what you guys think, right? Tez and Goose, like, do you guys care that there's like semi-fungibility or any of that?
No, and I think that's probably a bit too on the more complex side. What do you think a user needs to know about UCVX?
They need to know that it'll offer them everything that the LCVX would offer them, and important features that are crucial during, bear markets. Like you do not want to be bag holding your tokens for 4 months when the S&P, tanks another 10%, or ETH is at like $1,400 because that means CVX is probably a lot less, right? Like at $5. What is it worth to you? Like the ability to, sell your CVX if you need to, right? Like I think what's interesting about Pyrex is we're going to enable a lot more people to comfortably lock their CVX because it'll be very similar to just unlocked CVX. Like it's going to be unlocked CVX, but with all the benefits of VL CVX. And that's pretty powerful.
I think the other really cool thing about UCVX is that, so A, it does auto compound, and that happens in a linear fashion, and B, there is an exit fee that prevents people from just jumping in and jumping out as they want to try to game the system, but the exit fee goes to the user's pool and instead of the protocol. So there is an incentive for users to lock and hold and watch everyone else exit because you get their exit fee. Is that right?
Yeah, we're not worried about the withdrawal fee at all, which is like a pretty modest fee, but it's also to prevent, as you mentioned, gaming of the system. Because one of the interesting things about going with our auto compounding solution is if you were to lock directly with Convex, you would basically have to wait until the next voting round to receive rewards. By going with Pyrex's auto compounding solution, which is in partnership with Union, you would be able to receive rewards immediately from day one, regardless of whether a voting round has passed or not. And we're able to enable that by socializing the reward distribution.
Yeah, I mean, it's just in DeFi, you just have this horrible user experience offering that we give to most people, and it kind of like this whole even though for us it seems like an everyday kind of thing, lock with convex, bribes, and all that stuff that's in our wheelhouse. But with most people, it's just very down the rabbit hole of DeFi. So offering a product like UCVX where they just take a token out of any DEX or SEX and just put it in through Pyrex, and then all of a sudden they're now earning. They don't have to worry about slippage. They don't have to worry about where's the deepest pool and stuff like that. It's just basically all of the user experience is just unmatched in any for most people who are just entering DeFi.
Adding to Andy's point, the reason why we have these three different modes, it's not really about the kind of, I guess, it is about the ease, but it's also about kind of what the users want to get out of it, right? So people who just want to auto compound and forget about it, they can go to easy mode and convert automatically from CVX into UCVX directly, and they don't have to worry about what happens in the middle, and they just have to know that UCVX is liquid, auto compounds, gets them better yield because of the compounding. For people who don't want to auto compound, there's the standard mode, which is PX CVX, and they can claim their rewards every 2 weeks. And then for the advanced users who really want to, get the functionality out of Pyrex, there's the advanced mode, which I think is really what sets Pyrex apart from other rappers.
I'm the illest rapper to hold the cordless, patrolling corners.
Or other protocols, is that taken the interests of all the different kinds of users and created different functionality that specific users might want. Like for easy mode, auto compounding. If you're a DAO, you probably not interested in that, but Pyrex can still provide some functionality that is useful. So that's why it's so cool. It's within one kind of area, it makes it complex obviously when you're looking at all the three different kind of modes or different kind of functionality is, but for the average user, all you have to know is, I could go to Pyrex, drop my CVX, and I get to participate with all my mates who are in VLCVX, but guess what? I can sell tomorrow if the market tanks. And I don't have to worry about all the other stuff that other people worry about. I think that's what's really cool, right? It's like KP, and the Pyrex team, they've created a monster that there's so much potential functionality that, it's really limitless. It'll be like a sequential launch, right? Where initially it'll be like easy mode where people can take their CVX, get you CVX, and for most of the users, that's what they want. And gradually, the additional features will be kind of released, and it gives people a chance to understand, kind of the additional functionality that comes with those features.
Yeah, Funky put it really well. I don't want to monopolize this or stay on this question for too long. I mean, if this whole podcast, all we talked about was easy mode, I feel like that would be totally fine, because easy mode is everything that users would get out of locking with Convex, but with additional functionality to make it palatable for people who do care about their finances, right? There was a very strong reason why Convex had this 4-month lock where you can't actually do anything with your tokens. I mean, that was an intentional design decision. It's because you're giving up something to get something else, right? Yeah, I feel in a way that's why Pyrex is sort of there's many states or many ways to think about different things, and I do think you can go down the rabbit hole as much as you want to, but I think just to put it simply, we're just making the LCBX palatable for people who...
Yeah, you can go right down the ski run with it.
That's why I was when KP first told me about Pyrex, I was so bullish. I was like, this is something that I want. This is something I will use from day one, because this is what really limits me as a shrimp user from really participating in this game. It's just that, you know, it's the great equalizer. That's what Pyrex is. All bag holders the same. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Funky's like bullishness has driven Pyrex forward. Like he's put out a lot of effort to get it to where it is today. Same with Never, of course. But man, yeah. Speaking of like limitless potential, there's the Pyrex as the core product that a lot of people are still preoccupied with and stuff like that. And Funky has started, you know, kind of like mentioning limitless potential and things like that. And it's because I don't think bored is the right word, but like I think like we've already acknowledged the existing Pyrex product for what it is, and we understand it really well. So now we're looking at like additional novel ways to provide value for users. Like I think one of the things that the convex ecosystem will really appreciate is we'll be creating applications that will offer novel functionality or use cases that will hopefully only be accessible by locking CVX and using Pyrex. Like immediately after we launch the protocol, we're going to be building applications that will have functionality that were previously available only on other protocols and bring that over to the convex ecosystem. It's almost as if, you know, Ethereum, right? I mean, we have all these DeFi protocols and things like that are available here that aren't available on these side chains or L1s. We're trying to make like convex an ecosystem that like it's going to be a thriving ecosystem that has its own, like just a ton of applications. It's going to be its own like mini Ethereum, I guess. I don't know how clear
Pyrex is as an all L1 when PXUSD.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, this narrative really works, right? Now it's just like, you know, when you add yield with liquidity, it's just you kind of you open up the doors to so many. It's like you could, like a little corner of DeFi that is, you know, just building and building. And like KP said, you know, it's like developers, right?
But imagine like your favorite DeFi protocols, right? Imagine if you could have the same features exclusive to their protocols. Like imagine if you could have all of that, but within the convex ecosystem, and you could participate in those, direct your yield towards those use cases. Like we're being pretty vague because not only is this a competitive space, but like these times, like these conditions make things even more competitive because, you know, protocols, there have been a number of protocols that have just, I mean, I don't know if they had the same idea or not, but like it seemed as if it was very similar to what, you know, what we were working on. And so we're very careful about that because, yeah, we just want to be careful. And because the stakes are, you know, higher than ever, right? It's like there are a lot of Redacted stakeholders who trust in us to, you know, take them.
Yeah, and you've built such a good product. I can understand that.
Thanks, man.
How much of the Pyrex revenue gets siphoned back to Redacted holders and stakers?
How does that work? Where do the fees come from, and how does that trickle back to the RL Butterfly holders?
Yeah, so 75% of all the fees will go directly to RL Butterfly lockers, but maybe Never could shed more light on that because they've worked more on B2 side of things.
Yeah, should caveat that it's 75% of the revenue goes to Redacted, of which I think 42.5% goes to RL Butterfly holders.
Yeah, and it's like this extension of Redacted going away from becoming like a treasury-centric product with the own mechanics to more of a product-centric protocol where, you know, it branches out to these different protocols that, you know, generate revenue from governance tokens and kind of siphons them back up to RL Butterfly lockers.
Yeah, nice. Just another way to bring value to the Butterfly token.
I guess also while we're on RL Butterfly, there's been a lot of murmurs in the Discord and around, because RL Butterfly is revenue locked Butterfly. It's another locked token, which I believe is for the same period of time, 16 weeks. And there's been talk of maybe a PX Butterfly. Is that something that's still in the works? Is that still on the cards?
And you're a sharp tool, Tez. I think KP's already dropped his alpha.
Have you? Oh, is it official?
Yeah, well, it's like we're dogfooding our own product, right? If the team didn't believe in our own product, we're putting our money where our mouth is as far as like proclaiming that Pyrex is suitable for virtually like any token that has some like ancillary benefit beyond just like liquidity, which I think like every ERC20 has that inherently, right? You could transfer the token to someone else, and you know, if there's a buyer, then you'd be able to sell it to them. But you know, usually most tokens have like governance, right, or yield or whatever. And Butterfly has both governance and yield, at least eventually on the governance side of things. And yeah, there's just going to be so many Pyrex tokens. I mean, Butterfly is just one. we're already like hatching plans for other protocols that we'll be expanding to like shortly after mainnet launch.
And in the future, you'll go to CoinGecko.
Yeah.
Or on CoinMarketCap, you know, if you're an animal. And literally, like, every ticker will have PX in front of it. Literally.
Yeah. And who knows, right? I'm so glad that Funky mentioned that, because it's like, since we're giving, I don't know, it'd be amazing because we have like a finite amount of bandwidth and, you know, we're just people. We have like, you know, a fixed amount of people. You know, it'd be great to bring on more people, but I wonder if one day we can give developers some sort of way to use the tech in a way that makes sense for them to extend to other protocols
Pyrex
for us too. I mean, right now, like, we feel pretty good about being able to extend to other protocols ourselves.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know, but like Hidden Hand took months to build, but now expanding to other protocols literally takes like half an hour at most. Yeah, developer work is very interesting to think about.
As in Sammy's fashion, let's drop a little bit of alpha here. Think bigger, right? With Pyrex. Think not just governance tokens.
Okay.
Think L1 tokens as well, or anything.
Yeah, or just redacted in general. I mean, Pyrex is just a representation of redacted. Yeah, I think some people might say that we're, I wouldn't say overconfident, but like we've said that we feel like we could build most things, and you know, we've done it, and we are defining certain trends, and we're like really excited about the areas that we can expand to. Like, I don't know, like I think at first, like I personally was like a little bit distressed that there were some competitors who seemingly like copied us, but I don't know, like I do think we're thinking about things like many steps ahead. Yeah, they're still saying that, you know, trying to sell the whole like liquid wrapper token or whatever, but we created that like 2 or 3 months ago. You know, like Pyrex has had 3 rewrites so far. I mean, if we wanted to launch, we would launch like 3 months ago or something.
Pyrex and Redacted take security very seriously, you know, like that's why it's not like immediate, and I think it's good that things are taking the time that they should, because there's going to be a lot of money, you know, in these contracts. So you want everything to be, you know, perfect.
Trusted TM.
This is exactly what DeFi needs, right? This kind of ethos of, you know, taking developers and contracts, taking responsibility of, you know, what's actually happening on. I mean, this test and prod approach really worked in the early days when people just explored different ideas, but as DeFi matures, it needs to start, you know, taking on different standards to kind of build itself up on layer after layer.
Quick shout out to Joey from Tribe too, because whoops, sorry.
Is that Joey?
Hey, how you doing?
Without Joey, Pyrex definitely would not be where it is today. Like, man, yeah, I think that, yeah, I'm not even 100% sure. Like, Joey's probably one of the, like, don't fade Joey. I think he's probably one of the best thinkers in the DeFi space.
Nice. Big shout out.
Nice.
Good for you, Joey.
Shout out to Tribe as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tribe.
Go Tribe.
I did see it. I think I read it somewhere. Yeah, what exactly are you guys doing with Tribe and Joey? Like, if you can quickly summarize what the communication has been there and what that exchange has been, that partnership.
We were just looking for ways to add value to users. Like, I mean, I think Pyrex really exists only because we're looking at things from their perspective of, okay, well, how could this be more valuable or more helpful to users? We always approach things from like a user first perspective because we are users of like everything we create. But yeah, like we will be working with Tribe, say we open, start, fuse, and allow people to borrow against their collateral value, because it's great to be able to earn rewards and things like that. But at the same time, say you are very adamant about keeping your assets locked and not withdrawing it from the protocol. It'd be great to be able to, borrow funds against that value or the asset value, for other needs. And I mean, maybe not in a degenerate way like, most of the CT might do, which is, borrow against the value and then buy more and then wrap it. Like, we might have that too, but that we're not mentioning yet because we're still getting around to building it. But they will come, and they'll come really fucking fast. Like liquidation-free positions and things like that once we establish certain partners. This environment is, we have grand plans in the works. And regardless of what direction the market takes, whether it's like bull, bear, up or down, We do have a lot of contingency plans in place, and we're going to keep building no matter what, as far as like new use cases and things like that. I do think we have at least 1 to 2 use cases just for Convex alone, or applications that we're going to be building and launching in June or July that, as I mentioned earlier, will just provide use cases that just don't exist yet for the Convex community. If anything, there's actually been a couple people or prominent people in C2 who have requested this, people that you'd be really surprised. I think it'll draw attention to the Convex community and make CVX a more attractive asset to hold, because you'd be able to access all this additional functionality. But on top of that, at the same time, we're not just focusing on the horizontal scaling side of things, which is building more apps on top of CVX. We're going to be vertical scaling when it comes to building apps on top of Convex. We're going to be focusing on the horizontal side of things as well, and scaling to different protocols. We've already discussed that. I think it's going to be a very interesting time, and really excited.
Redacted.
I think we've covered easy mode, and that's pretty much the main thing that I think users should want to take out of this episode.
Because it's the thing that will happen at launch. The other things are rolling out over time. Yeah.
I reckon maybe we should talk about medium mode and hard mode, more advanced kind of Pyrex concepts that are coming out.
So I'm not even going to differentiate between standard or hard mode, but with PX CVX, you'll also be able to realize your future yield in the present. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, when you lock your CVX with Convex, you're able to get bribes over the span of 4 months. Imagine if you're able to get all of those bribes upfront. So let's say you locked your CVX, and instead of waiting for 4 months and collecting your bribes every 2 months, you'd be able to get all of that liquidity from day one. Let's say even at a discount. Maybe it might be worth it to you because you're like, well, I could have invested those funds in this other thing and made back whatever I gave up in order to get that upfront liquidity, right? So that's what Pyrex is going to enable you to do. So instead of waiting 4 months or a year or however long, we'll be able we'll enable you to mint backed tokens, which you could sell to others and get your bribe upfront, which is, I guess, really valuable during this period where you might want funds to be able to buy the dip on certain things, or maybe not buy the dip, but maybe just to hold cash so that you can spend things or spend on later, right? Yeah, you just wouldn't be able to do that right now.
Or if you believe in the long-term kind of value accrual of CVX or PX CVX, lever up with non-liquidation kind of, and somewhat leverage, levering up against your future, I guess.
Yeah, cool. And I guess just to quickly cover that, it's called SPX CVX, which is your staked Pyrex convex, which means you can lock that in for the amount of time you wish to choose. Could be months, it could be up to a year or more, I think. Is there a cap to how long you can lock it up?
Yeah, is it 4 years?
There's not really a hard cap. I mean, as long as the transaction doesn't revert. So there's no reason to lock. So there's no reason to I guess, stake if there's no buyers for the future tokens, right? Because usually if you were to stake, you would get tokens representing your future yield, and you would usually sell that to someone else. Because if you only just wanted your yield, you would just hold on to PX CVX as it is. Does that make sense? You'd only stake if you're like, okay, well, I'm staking my PX CVX because I need it to secure tokens which represent my future yield. And I'm going to sell the future yield because I want that money today instead of, whenever it is in the future. And if there are buyers, which we will actually arrange for users in the future, we're probably going to have like on the UI, we're probably going to have buttons that are just like, okay, we'll sell your future yield or whatever immediately right now for X amount of money or something.
From a technical level, the amount of tokens in the future you can mint is basically the gas limit of the block. But also, we will see, right? Since you're doing these features to get you're basically minting this to get instant liquidity on your future bribes. So as the kind of the liquidity in this kind of exotic market starts to build up, you will kind of start to be able to gauge of what is actually feasible in terms of liquidity depth and demand for those future bribes.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I guess I just want to quickly distinguish as well. With SPX CVX, you lock it up for an amount of time. Let's say it was for 3 months, and then therefore in return you'll get 3 months worth of future notes. And one is called the BFN, right? Bribe future notes. The other one's called VFN. Is that right? Like vote future notes. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. And so there's.
You're right.
Yeah. And I guess maybe how would you distinguish the two? How would they both work differently?
So VL CVX, you get to vote, convex proposals on Snapshot, and you also get to collect bribes. But, the way we're doing it, you have to choose one or the other. But most people usually are just, they delegate their votes to Vodium and they collect the bribes, based on Vodium's algorithm for placing the votes, right? So that's why we think that Pyrex will be the right solution for most users. But if you're someone like Frax, there are certain other considerations and things like that too. But yeah, like we're going to enable you to control the votes and direct them however you want to, if you want to. Or you could just, sit back like 99% of other, or 99.9% of other users and just get the bribes and then access other functionality.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. Yeah, I feel like we've covered a lot of it now. We've been at it for an hour and 10. So is there anything on top of that you guys wanted to add before we maybe wrap it? What are you thinking?
There is going to be a lot more than Convex. Yeah, this year is going to be a very good one for us and the developers that work with us. I guess because we want to figure out how to make this sustainable effort for developers, because at the end of the day, that's what we need for this entire industry. Crypto is an industry to work, right? We need people to build use cases for this technology that don't currently exist in traditional industries. Otherwise, it's like, what is the point, or what is the difference? Or like, why would anyone even care to use us over like PayPal or I don't know, a savings account or whatever? Like we want to attract those people. We know that there is something valuable here. We just want to remove all the hurdles and barriers that are currently present. Like, it's just going to take a very, a concentrated effort. If at the end of the day, even if we were to, go extinct, which I don't think we will, if we were able to bring more developers into the space so that this space could thrive, I think it would be worth it, because there really is something here. It's just that most people it's just not the most friendly place for developers to build. And we see it every day and all the time from team members and candidates that we talk to. It's very hard to build this technology, and that shouldn't be the case.
Yeah, very, very future thinking. It's awesome. Is there anything else anyone wanted to add?
One thing I would say is, I'll say last words. Don't sleep on Pyrex, because Pyrex devs aren't sleeping.
Nice, man. Oh, Funky, you've been sitting on that for a few minutes.
Yeah.
That's great.
Man, Greenberg definitely doesn't sleep, I'll tell you that.
No kidding. Yeah, I don't know how he does it. I'm sleeping. I hate to say it because I sound like a lazy piece of shit, but I get my 8 hours every night. I'm sorry, guys. I do sleep.
Oh, nice.
Smart contract devs need to sleep to make sure there's no errors in the code.
I respect that. You got your 8 hours in there.
Yeah. You know what? There was a period where I really was like, man, I can't sleep. But my brain just doesn't work properly.
Yeah, for sure.
But Greenberg is just he doesn't sleep, but he's also still sharp.
legit.
So major respect.
I'm like you, KP. I don't get those people. I need my 8 hours.
Same.
Otherwise, I'm just a zombie.
Never too. Actually, Funky, because I think it's super early in the morning for them. They just don't sleep.
Yeah, I sleep a decent amount sometimes.
Do you just have a weird sleep schedule?
Yeah, I mean, it gets better. In the early days of Redacted, it was very difficult to
was
have
it?
some.
Yeah.
But now there's people like Funky and KP, so it's you can sleep knowing that there's some grace of pushing things forward.
Take the night shift. Yeah.
No
I
pressure,
think one of the things for Redacted stakeholders is that, the people who are building, we're not going to let the bear deter us. Some protocols might just fade into security. We've seen with CT, but the protocols that are going to stick around to the next cycle when things are even bigger than they are now, we're definitely going to be one of them. And our goal is to, contribute to that, that growth of the space, because we want to bring in more developers, and we also want them to be proud that they're part of the Redacted ecosystem, because we're enabling them to sustain those efforts. I think developer sustainability has been a massive problem in the space for the past few years already. Not just developer ergonomic. How does a developer join the space and also, make a living, right? Like everyone has to pay bills and things like that. And we're going to provide a very realistic roadmap for that. So really, really excited. Like the formula is this: provide value to our users and be able to sustain yourselves immediately without launching a token. You can launch tokens if you want to, but without even launching a token, imagine if you could be able to get an income similar to whatever you're making at your workplace if you're providing, something actually valuable.
It's pretty cool. Like, you look at how old this curve is, not very old. And Convex, celebrated its 1-year anniversary recently. And look at the kind of ecosystem that's built on top of Curve and the ecosystem that's built on top of Convex. I think like Pyrex isn't limited to Convex. It's literally everything could be enhanced by Pyrex. Obviously, the dev time is limited, so we'll have to figure out ways in order to expand in different ways. But imagine how powerful Pyrex will be in a year, or even other redacted products, or the redacted product suite in general. There's so much opportunity in this space that what we can do is really, there's no limit.
Redacted.
All right. Yeah, we did it, Goose. We got to the end. It was a long chat.
Yeah, that was it was enlightening though.
Yeah, it was really interesting. They clearly have a strong passion for what they've built, and they have a lot of foresight of the potential of what it could become.
Definitely something that can only get bigger from here.
Yeah.
Quite a complex subject though. So anyone that can understand it on the first go has done a fantastic job. It took me a few explanations to understand.
Yeah.
Sorry about that throat clear.
That's all right, got it.
Redacted.
I was going to say, shout out to Funky, because he was very patient with both of us explaining the ins and outs of Pyrex before we started this podcast.
Many a phone call.
Yes.
He even left the country to get away from us. We asked him about it so much.
Yeah. I mean, shout out to Funky in general, actually. He's a
good kid.
Yeah, he's been a big supporter and a big help for the podcast throughout.
And what is the future of the podcast, Tez?
It's a good question.
Sad music.
Due to the tumultuous nature of this market and budgets having to be slashed here and there, I believe that we will not be continuing on a consistent basis.
We're hibernating.
We're in hibernation, yes. So there'll be no podcast for Redacted for the time
We
being.
are the bear that is hibernating.
Yes.
In this bear market.
Yeah. Bear radio.
I like that. Bear radio. That's next for us.
Yeah. So yeah,
we still want to do maybe some episodes randomly here and there.
Yeah.
There's some pretty cool people we want to talk to.
Yes.
We'd lined up a lot of people, so we're happy to keep building.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's true. There's a lot of people we want to chat to. There's a lot of episodes we want to do in the future. So unfortunately, it's not sustainable at the moment to be doing it. But
if we're up to us, we'd keep going. Definitely.
For sure. But yeah, hey, we'll still be peeking our heads in every now and then.
Definitely. It was taken out of our hands, but oh well.
Yeah, true. But hey, it's
been so fun.
It has.
It's been enjoyable.
Yeah, and it's been awesome. All the support and all the engagement we've had has been great as well.
Definitely. And I think I got more messages when we took that little hiatus than earlier on, and just the support from everyone. It did in the Discord or even on Twitter has been fantastic. So thank you everyone for reaching out.
Cheers. Yeah. And we'll still be around, hey?
Yeah, definitely. Message me. If you want a friend in crypto, hit me up. Happy to respond.
Happy to shill. Yeah.
I'm not shilling anything.
No shilling.
Bad history of that.
Yeah. Hey, no, let's go into that.
Sell me this pen.
Well, this pen works.
Oh, man. It's been good. We don't know when we're coming back, but
but we'll be around. The platform will be open. We'll just drop random episodes every now and then. You'll be like, oh, what's a new one?
Yep. So remember to subscribe, and then see you around.
Yeah. Cheers.
See ya.
It's been a pleasure doing business with you.